All right, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to our second weekly football coaches luncheon here at the Black and Gold Room on the campus of the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. My name is Haptam Kaleta, Sports Information Director for UAPB. And on behalf of our new AD, Melvin Hines II, we thank each and every one of you for coming out today. Definitely didn't have the result that we expected this past weekend, but looking forward to a big game this week against Prairie View. But without further ado, we will let Coach Cedric Thomas give you a brief breakdown of this past weekend's trip against an excellent football team in South Dakota. Coach Thomas.
Good evening. I'm just kind of recapping, winning hostile environment. This past weekend, and score one doesn't indicate what we got out of that game, but it was a great indication of what we want to establish. When you look at that program and the leadership of that program, Coach been there about 22 years and had a lot of ups and downs and trials and tribulations during that journey. And going in, we knew as a coaching staff, what type of environment it was, what type of football team, what type of program had been established there, and it was good. Right now in this journey, as we try to establish that type of program for our kids to get on a bus, plane, or whatever, and be in that type of environment, hostile environment, about 15,000, ranked top 5 in 1AA football. Played a lot of Division I schools, a lot of talent, a lot of history and tradition. And it was good for our kids to see that and experience that, because a lot of times, they'll get up for the FIUs and the Floridas and the Georgias, but it's a lot of good 1AA teams out there that I think our kids really don't know about, and some in the Southland Conference and some in the OVCs and conference and such. So it was a great litmus for us to, one, see where we at, but also to see what type of program we want to establish. Didn't have all our players playing at our full strength. And anytime you're dealing with a program as such, you got to be clicking on all cylinders. And left a lot of kids back at home due to injuries and things of that sort, of didn't play. But overall, I was proud, of them young men. They fought their tails off of what they had, all the way until the score and the time ran out. So it was a lot of positive, and we can build from it. And I sit back and just hold it in my back pocket, knowing that later on down the road we'll look back at this experience and say, hey, it helped us build the program that we wanted to. The football guys got a way of making this thing coming back full circle. Getting a lot of hits on, running the score up and all, that type of deal. But my whole thing is, Coach got to coach his ball club the way he has to, and it's my job to put our kids in the best position, for us stopping it. So, I didn't entertain any of that, but I just know we'll be a better ball club coming forward, and we gotta, can't lay in our pity too long. We got an explosive Prairie View football team with a lot of coaches on their staff who are familiar with our kids, and we just, eager to go back to work.
All right, Coach Thomas, thank you for that. At this time, we'll take questions and close out South Dakota State, and then we'll advance to Prairie View. So Cameo has the mic. If you'll just raise your hand, anybody in the audience, not just limited to the members of the media.
Yeah, feel free. I ain't that coach that, I want the good and the bad. Please ask them. I don't want no elements in the room.
Coach, you're in a situation where most of us back here looked up and we realized that Patrick Shannon did not start and that we didn't see Skyler out there as well. What's the situation with that? Why didn't they play in the game?
After that, the Cumberland game, Shannon shaking his hand, saying that it's hurting. And so Rob did a good job of getting him to Little Rock and got an MRI, and he had a broke finger. So that was 2 weeks, no matter what, that he couldn't participate. So, that kind of hurt. And then I'm looking at Skyler that Sunday, and he got an ice pack on his shoulder. Well, I'm thinking that's just some preventive maintenance. And, I'm kind of excited because the young guy, I said is the future. Get a chance to go in this hostile environment and, get the putters on his back. And, I'm getting Monday that, he can't go either. And I'm like, all right, next man up, so that's where we at with those guys. But, just got clearance as of 5 minutes ago that, they hook, line, and sinker for this week, so we excited about that part. A lot of you guys may not know Josh Wilkes went down right before halftime, and I'm cringing saying, boy, we sitting there with a lot of productivity that's not only missing the South Dakota game, but I bet why I go down and don't know if we'll have him this week. So he'll be going to Little Rock, today and you know, he got an X-ray, you know, up there in South Dakota with no structural damage, so we think, you know, he should be full go, so that's a positive. But that's where we stand with the injuries, you know, to the 1 and 2 quarterback.
You know, a lot of people may look at the score and probably try to figure out what the hell happened. But you mentioned earlier, you know, these guys have played against 1AA school. I noticed on their schedule, in the past they played Nebraska and they played Ohio State and so forth. What do you say to your players after a loss in terms of the score? What do you say? What did you say to the team afterwards?
Well, you know, after I pretty much told them we're going to get what we deserve, and we got what we deserve. You know, I told them during the game, you can look at that scoreboard all you want to, but them guys will score 100, you know, because, you know, when it gets to that part in that 1AA and them playoffs, them points and rankings and seeding means a lot. So I don't think Coach, you know, went out to say we're going to run the score. You know, I think it was a deal for him after seeing A&T beat Jacksonville State and, you know, beat some 1AA teams, and they moving up in the rankings, and it could be another team from our conference getting the playoffs. Well, let me just try to prove a point, you know, just from a numerical standpoint, and I can go from a 3 seed to a 2 seed, and I can get in the playoffs, you know. So, but basically, I just told them, you know, what you put in is what you get out. But that's a good football team, and what we trying to establish during our journey is that, you know, I want to be able to look 2-3 years from now and sit there and say, hey, you remember, you know, that 90-6 when we're in a situation as such, and hey, this is where we got to where we are because of games like that.
Coach, you mentioned the fact that it was a litmus test for you. You know, you got hired in December, you arrived on campus in January, and you're still getting to know some of the players of this team, are you not?
Oh, without a doubt. You know, in situations like that, I'm all for adversity. You know, it's fine when you're 55-0. You know, that's why I was telling the crowd about these questions, ask them, because I'm learning administrators, staffs, and coaches too. Because a lot of them will say, hey, the text message may say one thing, but then, you know, when you get face to face or out in the community, the situation may be different. So I'm all for adversity, and just to learn these kids and know, you know, my biggest thing is when I got off that plane, I went right in there and downloaded that film, and I didn't want to see one person quit, because if I saw that, then I knew where I stood with them, and that's not what we teaching. You know, that's not what we building. You know, our transcripts when we leave here with our degrees, we still got to compete with South Dakota State, Florida, Georgia, and Miami's out in society for these jobs. So it's just not an athletic contest. You know, we got to fight forever, resources or no resources. And that's what the mindset I told these young men. You know, when I put that film on there, I want to see everybody that's out there, want 1 snap or 100 snaps, to play their tails off and do it for the duration of their game. And for the most part, we got that.
I know my boy. Oh, you got a question?
I do have a question.
I see you have your questions written down. You get good.
They good. Just maybe. How you doing, Coach?
One bless.
I just wanted to know, what did you guys do wrong? What did they do right? And what did you learn from this game for going further?
You know, defensively, what we did wrong, we didn't match up our run fits. You know, they did some different things, you know, as far as, you know, power schemes where, you know, they got an extra hat. And, you know, for whatever reason, our kids just kind of got starstruck, you know, and a lot of them hadn't been in that situation. The same plays that we made against Cumberland and even against Morehouse, for some reason, you know, on that stage in front of 15,000 people, you know, they didn't do it. So I got to put them in those situations consistently, you know, whether it's those type of games or those type of practice environments. So that's what we didn't do, didn't do right. And, you know, as far as just getting better from it, you know, we got to make the corrections. We got to brush it off, and we got to move on. We got to get better at tackling, you know, being in space, tackling in space. And we got to get some guys back healthy. You know, I'm looking in the secondary, and Ronald Rocket's out. You know, Blake Connor hadn't played. Rico Merriweather, Montez Fable. You know, that's 4 guys that play all in the secondary where you don't have any depth. And you look around at Sean Steele, got to play 85 plays of defense, but he also got to play 20 plays of special teams. You know, same thing with Isaiah Johnson, and the same thing with Nigel County. So, you know, we got to get some guys back healthy, establish that depth, but we just got to go out and play football. You know, the more we can go play football, the better we'll be. And the thing that they did right is they left a coaching line for 22 years to establish a program and be really good. So that's what we didn't do wrong, and that's what they did right. And you know, what we got to do to be better.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about that workhorse you have back there, number 2, Taylor Porter, and what he means to this ball club?
You know, Taylor great. And he came to me, you know, when we found out that the 2 guys, quarterback-wise, was going to be out. And he said, "Coach, just put it on my shoulders." You know, Taylor just got here when I got here. You know, so he's a, kid that's bought in the program, tough running back, hard nosed, physical kid, just a team player. And that's kind of was the mantra when we find out those guys was out. It was just the next man up. So I'm proud of Taylor, and I just know when we get them quarterbacks back to fold, it's going to take a lot of pressure off of him because now he don't see 6 and 7, 8-man boxes because you got to spread out to try to cover Wilkes and Shannon and Skyler and all those guys in the passing game.
Any more questions regarding the South Dakota State game? All right, we will move on to the preview of the SWAC opener this Saturday against Prairie View. As Coach mentioned, a few of their coaches are very familiar with some of our players, so we will open the floor to any questions at this moment.
Coach, you mentioned the fact that you downloaded the film, wanted to make sure that people were hustling and didn't give up. Maybe a bit premature, but have you had an opportunity to look at any film on this Prairie View team?
Every game, probably about 3 times now. That was on Prairie View, first week of the season, because it's the first conference game, so we all in. We got game plans already ready, got counters and adjustments off of it. So to answer your question, we've been on Prairie View. I've been kind of behind the scenes, just doing things on my own. I've been against Ted for a lot of years, been a coach against Coach Dooley for a lot of years, kind of got a feel for those guys, and just wanted to see one who's calling it, how much is being tweaked based on personnel that they have there. So we got a notebook full of things, and we can't wait to hit the field tonight, to just kind of start putting it together.
Based on your observations and what you've witnessed so far, what may be your biggest challenge taking on this team?
Speed. They got a running back who's leading the conference with about 600 yards rushing. He had 250 yards plus against Sam Houston and also against North Carolina Central. So got a great running back, that's athletic and got a big wide out that transferred from Oregon. That's a junior college kid that stretched the field vertically. Got an athletic quarterback, so he got some weapons. He got some guys that they can make plays, given opportunity. But we like our matchups. We got some guys that we feel like can, exude a lot of confidence and from a technical standpoint, put themselves in position to be successful also with a game plan that we give them. So we're looking for a great game and some great matchups in that game.
You mentioned 2 things about your quarterback. So would they're not able to go, I guess Totten will again get the nod. And who backs up Totten? I mean, nobody knows about the 4th-string quarterback. So I need to get that question in.
Yeah, David Chappell. David Chappell plays some Saturday. He's freshman, typical freshman. Athletic, can run around. We'll have to limit the package. What we do offensively, but real fast and athletic guy. Got to work on some of the passing concepts. But I don't think Ty's gonna start this one. Just talking to Shannon and Skyler, they got the nod. They got to go.
Oh, you have another one?
Yes. Coach, what would you say to all the people that are talking bad about our football program right now? People on Twitter saying we need to go ahead and get UAPB football out of the SWAC. What would you say to them?
Let's continue to talk. While you're talking, it's getting some type of recognition. Please don't be quiet. We need it. It fuels, one's fire who's used to that. I don't need any conversation, to motivate me. But that's talk. All of they're just alphabets put together to make words and sentences. So it's just what what merit you put into it. So I think it'd be tough if it was just if it was mute. My thing is with it all is I hear about the roughing the SWAC deal and that's cool. But when we're gonna get the concept of loving the SWAC? When somebody gonna come up with a website or a page for that where we can talk about all the great things these institutions provide? For ones when we put up job applications for coaches or for engineers or different programs and such, because I don't see that from the SEC or the Pac-10 or none of these other conferences down in each other. And it's all, fun and jokes at times, but we're going to have an avenue and an outlet for the uplift and the loving of one, who laid the foundation for this. So, just far as the naysayers and the talking, that's fine. We still got to go out and play, and we still got to go out and compete and show that this institution belongs where it is, and we'll continue to get better. I promise you that.
Coach Tim Stubbs, UAPB Television. Fans just don't like the words patience, process, things of that nature. Talk about that. You haven't been here for a very long time. It is going to be a process. Patience is going to be needed. It's not the only program like this across the country. There are several across the board that are taking their lumps right now, taking over a program. A lot of these players you did not recruit may not fit your style yet as they progress, but speak to that just a little bit.
You know, the biggest thing is just the community and the support staff I have, you know, to hear, you know, sit down and talk to Mr. Bennett and talk to people in the community, you know, about, hey, just trust the process, you know, continue to do what you do. You know, that's the motivation, you know, for me. But, you know, as far as the people that don't know me, you know, all they can do is look at the brand. And I just hope that they invest in UAPB enough to just continue to physically support, financially support. And in turn, you're going to get the, you know, that stock, you know, you're going to be able to get a return on your, what you put in. And I think that's what we're doing. So, you know, my deal to it is just come see it, come invest in it, you know, come look at it, come nurture it, you know, the best way you can. And, you know, we'll see down the line what it end up, you know, entailing as it relates to success, because that's not always, you know, W's and L's. You know, I could use this institution for my own personal gain, win a lot of games, and then if I'm up and I'm gone and these young brothers not graduating and not being productive citizens, did I actually win? You know, so I know who I am, and my core being is what I'm going to establish is a program that in turn W and L's won't define us, but we know we'll have high numbers as it relates to scores, but we're going to have young brothers to lead society and go out and lead nations and generations, but also be productive citizens when it's all over. And we'll win a bunch of football games in tail. So for the ones who's impatient, you know, and ready, want it right now, you know, I can't promise you how fast it's going to be, but I promise you we'll get done.
Absolutely. In a sense, the season begins Saturday, 3 games under your belt, but there's something special about that SWAC opener. Talk about that. Yeah, without
a doubt. You know, the playing field is even. You know, when you come in, you know, and you use those 3 games, it's, you know, kind of like the pregame. You know, especially in my situation, I get to see kids go, you know, on planes, see how they travel, you know, see how they conduct business, you know, in a 15,000 seat stadium in a hostile environment. You know, I get to see them after 3-hour rain delay to come out and play a good Cumberland football team. I get to see them on the season opener, you know, at home. So, you know, I'm building that foundation with them, but also, you know, getting a chance to know them, and also as coaches. You know, I haven't been on the staff with any of these guys except Coach Quinn. So just like I told them, I'm learning them too. You know, so if anything in the building that's out of the building, which I know won't happen, you know, then we'll deal with it accordingly, because, you know, you judge a team or anybody, you know, by what they've been through. And right now we're going through some tough times, but we're gonna roll our sleeves up, put our back against the wall, and we're gonna fight. And we know eventually, you know, we'll get ourselves up out of it.
Questions regarding the upcoming Prairie View game?
Coach, could you talk a little bit about the mood of the team as they are right now?
You know, it's kind of hard to tell. You know, what hurt me the most is, you know, to see them kids cry, you know, when it was all over. That was tough.
All right, any more questions?
Because I know they worked their tails off, you know, and they better than what that score indicated, you know. So that was the most disappointing part after the game, to just see them guys put all, you know, they had in it, and just, you know, it didn't come out the way they felt like it. But to see them, you know, yesterday at study hall, getting them hours in, gives an intel of, you know, what we're doing in the future, knowing that no matter what happened, I still gotta go and I gotta take care of my academics, you know, and to see them in the lab with Miss Kim and Fiona, I'm sorry, you know, that right there just meant everything, you know. And then after that, coming in and saying, Coach, we're gonna be all right, you know, we're gonna keep working. We're gonna keep working for you. We believe in you. Thank you. I appreciate it. You know, so that right there just meant everything, you know, to me. And that's the foundation, you know. Tough loss, come back in. We talk about school first, you know, go to school, you know, ain't no recess if you don't go to school. You know, see them get them study hall hours, then come in, you know, talk about Prairie View. So that kind of, you know, puts us at ease, you know, just as far as what type of kids we got. Because like you said, you know, we trying to figure them out. And I promise you we're going to be better. It ain't no doubt in my mind.
All right, any more questions for Coach Thomas regarding Prairie View? Once again, Coach, we thank you, and of course, we definitely have your back. Support the team through thick and thin. Like they mentioned, season starts this week. That's what it's all about, is conference. And you guys had a goal, and we saw that, and still have plenty of opportunity to make it happen. So we all invite you 6 o'clock this Saturday at Simmons Bank Field for the conference opener against Prairie View A&M. It's going to be at 6 o'clock. Once again, we encourage fans to wear black, as it's a blackout. So, yep, we appreciate everybody coming here, and we thank Coach Thomas once again. We thank all our fans and the media. Definitely a powerful press conference today. Powerful coaches luncheon. So without further ado, let's eat. And also special thanks to Airmark, always, for their wonderful work. We do thank you guys so much, and let's eat.